Everyone, welcome back to our oceanography class. Ocean and seawaters have three major properties which are essential to man as well as other life forms on Earth. These properties are temperature, salinity, and density. In this module, you will learn about the salinity of seas and ocean water. The materials found in the seawater belong to two groups, dissolved materials and suspended materials. And here, salinity of the ocean water simply means the presence of dissolved salts in the seawater. Salinity is the term used to define the total content of dissolved materials in seawater, irrespective of its constituents. Salinity can be defined as the ratio between the weight of the dissolved solid materials and the weight of the sample seawater. It is calculated as the amount of salt dissolved in 1000 gram of seawater. Amount of salt dissolved in 1000 gram of seawater. It is usually expressed as parts per thousand or ppt. Salinity of 24.7 part per thousand has been considered as the upper limit to demarcate brackish water. The average salinity of the entire ocean is 35 part per thousand. This indicates that 35 grams of salt are dissolved in 1000 grams of water. This is salinometer. It is the instrument used to measure seawater salinity very accurately. Salinometer is the instrument used to measure the seawater salinity very accurately. Now about measuring salinity. Throughout most of history, global understanding of ocean surface salinity was difficult because sampling by ships, buoys, drifters, and moorings was extremely limited. Between 300 and 600 AD, awareness of changes in salinity, temperature, and smell helped Polynesians explore the southern Pacific Ocean. In the 1870s, scientists aboard HMS Challenger systematically measured salinity, temperature, and water density in the world's oceans. Over the years, techniques for measuring such ocean water properties have changed drastically in method and accuracy. This is Aquarius, a satellite. It was launched in the year June 2011. It was NASA's first satellite instrument specifically built to study the salt content of ocean surface waters, Aquarius. So here in the image, you can see some lines on the oceanic part of the map. These are isolines. That is, isohalines are isolines. It is the line which joins all points on the ocean having equal salinity. Isohaline is the line which joins all points on the ocean having equal salinity. Now let's study about the composition or the constituents of the seawater. What the seawater is composed of. As we said earlier, seawater contains complex solution of several substances. These dissolved substances in the seawater are grouped into two categories. Major constituents comprising 99.7% of the dissolved material and the minor constituents comprising only 0.3%. So the dissolved substances in the seawater can be grouped into two, major constituents and minor constituents. Major constituents. The major constituents comprise various elements: chlorine, sodium, sulfur, magnesium, calcium, potassium being the most important. This diagram depicts the proportion of various elements in seawater. Chlorine being the most important element constitute 55%, sodium 30%, sulfur 8%, magnesium 8%, etc. The ratios of concentration of major constituents do not change with changes in salinity. This is the constancy of composition rule. The constancy of composition rule says that the major constituents of ocean water are found in the same relative concentration throughout the ocean water volume. Since these are now generally removed from or added to seawater by living organisms, they are termed as conservative constituents. They are neither removed from or added to seawater by living organisms. So they are known as conservative constituents. Then the minor constituents. The minor constituents comprise the dissolved gases, nutrients, and trace elements. Although the minor constituents comprise only 0.3% of all dissolved materials, they are important because without dissolved gases, nutrients, and trace elements, life could not have developed and survived on this planet. First one is dissolved gases. Atmospheric gases are dissolved in the seawater and are distributed to all depths by mixing processes and currents. The most abundant gases in the atmosphere and the sea are nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. Second one is nutrients. Plant growth in the oceans are aided by nutrients. These are the fertilizers of the oceans. These nutrients are of two types, organic nutrients and inorganic nutrients. The various organic substances present in the seawater are proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, etc. The inorganic nutrients constitute nitrogen, phosphorus, and silica. Then the third one is trace elements. Trace elements are so called because of their minuscule concentration, that is, thousands of times less abundant than the nutrients. It constitutes iodine, manganese, lead, mercury, gold, etc. Now let's have a look into the major sources of ocean water salinity. First one is the river runoff. The continental rocks are subjected to chemical weathering through different processes such as carbonation, oxidation, solution, and hydration. These weathered materials containing different dissolved substances are carried by surface runoff and finally they reach the oceans. Besides, rivers also erode rocks of their valleys and thus carry ions of salts to the oceans. Then the next one is degassing, or more specifically, degassing by the earth. Degassing is the liberation of gases from within a planet. It is the process through which the gases were output from the interior of the earth. And it may occur directly during the volcanism or indirectly by the weathering of igneous rocks. You know that there is frequent volcanic activity along the plate boundaries. The undersea volcanic eruptions spew chloride and sulfate which are added to the ocean water. These volcanic eruptions emit various gases from the interior which gets mixed up with the ocean water. The other insignificant sources of seawater salinity include atmospheric and biological sources. As we said earlier, certain gases from the atmosphere are dissolved in the ocean water and contribute to the increase in ocean salinity. Certain biological interactions also add some sort of salt in the oceans. Let us study the role of organisms in controlling ocean water salts with the help of some examples. Marine organisms like coral polyps, mollusks, oysters, etc. extract carbonate of lime from the seawater to form their shells or skeletons. Seaweeds and other marine plants also consume a certain amount of calcium carbonate extracted from the seawater. This led to the diminution or the reduction of the total amount of carbonate of lime and concentration of chlorides in the ocean water. Now we are going to discuss about the factors which control ocean water salinity. These factors which control the ocean water salinity can be classified into two groups: factors of concentration and the factors of dilution. Evaporation of ocean water and the formation of sea ice both increase the salinity of the ocean. However, these salinity raising factors are continually counterbalanced by the processes that decrease salinity, such as continuous input from rivers, precipitation of rain and snow, and melting of ice. Let's discuss these factors one by one in detail. First one is evaporation. The process of evaporation is certainly the most important factor that controls the distribution of the surface salinity. The process of evaporation of sea and ocean water through the hydrologic cycle leads to the concentration of salts in these waters. As we are aware, through the process of evaporation, pure water is taken out as water vapor and salt is left behind. There is a direct positive relationship between the rate of evaporation and salinity. Higher the evaporation, greater the salinity, and vice versa. Evaporation is controlled by the factors such as temperature, relative humidity, and the instability in the lower layers of the atmosphere. Despite the higher temperature in the tropics, the cloudiness and the higher relative humidity retard evaporation, and so salinity is comparatively lower in the tropics than the subtropical regions. Highest salinity is recorded in the subtropical regions. Here, relative humidity is very low, and so the rate of evaporation is very high, which in turn lead to the higher rate of salinity in the subtropical regions. Thus, it is clear that the conditions which favor the higher rate of evaporation will naturally produce areas of high surface salinity. Then the second factor is ice formation. The Arctic region is a vast expanse of sea ice floating on water. Sea ice is actually frozen ocean water. It forms, grows, and melts in the ocean. The formation of ice results in the reduction of volume of fresh water in the oceans, which causes increase in the seawater salinity. At the same time, the melting of sea ice increases the volume of fresh water, and hence the salinity of seawater is reduced. The next factor which controls the ocean water salinity is the precipitation. Since 86% of the global evaporation and 78% of the global precipitation occur over the ocean, ocean surface salinity is the key variable for understanding how freshwater input and output affects the ocean dynamics. Precipitation is inversely related to salinity. That is, higher the precipitation, lower the salinity, and vice versa. This is why the regions of equatorial zone record comparatively lower salinity than the subtropical high pressure belts. In fact, the volume of freshwater is increased due to heavy rainfall, which resulted in the decrease of salinity. Then, influx of river water. The influx of fresh water by river is another important factor which brings down the salinity in the ocean water. The rivers such as the Congo, St. Lawrence, Amazon, etc. carry a large supply of fresh water to the oceans in which they fall. Due to the addition of fresh water, salinity near the mouths of rivers decrease. Same effect is seen in the enclosed seas also. For example, many rivers such as Oder, Vistula, etc. draining into the Gulf of Bothnia reduce salinity to 5 part per thousand. There is a seasonal variation of surface salinity with maximum and minimum runoff. That is, salinity decreases during the rainy season or the season of maximum runoff and increases in the season of minimum runoff. The next major factor which controls the ocean water salinity is the atmospheric pressure. I hope you all know about the atmospheric pressure belts. The equatorial region is a zone of low air pressure. The warm air at the low latitudes, that is from the equatorial region, rises and moves towards the poles. As the air moves towards the subtropics, it descends. The descending air becomes more warmer and drier, resulting in generally sunny skies and dry weather, which in turn accelerates the evaporation rate. And it causes high salinity in the subtropical regions. The anticyclonic conditions, which with stable air and high temperature, increase the salinity of the surface water of the oceans. Subtropical high pressure belts represent such conditions to cause high salinity. The descending air makes the area more drier and the temperature will become relatively higher in this area due to the descending air, which in turn accelerates the evaporation rate and it causes high salinity in the subtropical regions. Then the next one is the prevailing winds. The prevailing wind is a surface wind that blows predominantly from a particular direction. Winds blowing over the sea surface play an important role in the distribution of surface salinity. Winds help in the redistribution of salt in the oceans as the winds drive away more saline water to less saline areas, resulting in the decrease of salinity in the former and increase in the later. Here you can see the prevailing winds pattern. This is the equatorial region and the winds blowing from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere towards the equatorial regions are the trade winds. Trade winds in both the hemispheres transport the warm and saline water from the eastern part of the oceans towards the western parts. From the eastern part of the oceans towards the western parts. Trade winds transport the warm and saline water from the eastern part of the oceans, that is, from the western margin of the continents towards the eastern margin of the continents, which in turn raises the degree of salinity in the eastern margins of the continents or the western part of the oceans. Then the westerlies increase the salinity along the western margins of the continents, whereas they lower the salinity in the eastern continents. The westerlies, they transport the warm water, the high saline water from the west towards east, which causes a salinity increase in the eastern part of the oceans and the reduction of salinity in the western part of the oceans. Trade winds as well as the westerlies bring about the salinity differences on the eastern and western parts of the oceans. Then the next factor is the circulation of ocean water. The oceans are always in a state of restlessness. They actually show three distinct types of movement, that is tides, currents and waves. Among them, currents play a major role in the distribution of salinity. Ocean currents are of two types, warm currents and cold currents. Here in the image, the thick blue arrows represent the cold currents. The blue arrows represents the cold currents and the red ones represent the warm currents. Warm ocean currents carry warm and more saline waters towards the polar regions, whereas the cold currents drive the cold and less saline water from the higher latitudes to the lower latitudes. Please note the movement of or the direction of these red arrows, which represents the warm currents. These warm currents transfer or carry the warm water or the high saline water towards the polar regions. And in turn, these blue lines or the cold currents, they transport the less saline water from the polar areas towards the equatorial regions. So the warm ocean currents carry warm and more saline waters towards the polar regions, whereas the cold currents drive the cold or less saline water from the polar regions towards the equatorial regions. Thus, They help in the redistribution of ocean water salinity. The factors and processes which affect the ocean water salinity, as elaborated, may be summarized in the following manner. Salinity is increased due to evaporation. Salinity is decreased due to precipitation. Salinity is reduced due to the melting of ice. Salinity increases due to the ice formation. Salinity reduces due to the influx of fresh river water. Salinity is raised due to the high atmospheric pressure. Then salinity varies due to the mixing of seawater of different character. Ocean currents and prevailing winds cause spatial variation in seawater salinity. Besides, they also help in mixing of seawater salinity. That's all for now. I hope you all had a nice learning experience. In the next video, we will look at the distribution of ocean water salinity. Thank you. Have a nice day.